Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. I'm going to go back inshallah to hadith 1216.
Page 245, chapter 578, the excellence of Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, and Allahu Akbar. 1216. Abdullah bin Amr radiallahu anhu said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if a Muslim man persists in two actions, he will enter the garden. They are easy, but those who do them are few. He was asked, what are they, Messenger of Allah? He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that you say Allahu Akbar 10 times, Alhamdulillah 10 times, and Subhanallah 10 times after every prayer. That is 150 on the tongue and 1500 in the balance. Abdullah ibn Amr saw the Prophet ﷺ counting them on his hand. Then he said, when you go to bed, you should say Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, and Allahu Akbar. That is 100 on the tongue and 1000 in the balance. Which of you can do 2500 bad actions in a day and a night? He was asked, Messenger of Allah, how can it be that they are not fulfilled? He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Satan comes to one of you while he is praying and reminds him of something that he has to do, such and such and such and such, so he does not remember to do it.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. As we know that, alhamdulillah, that we have gone through this hadith last week, but I would like to add the following two things, 2 points which are very important. Now, number one point, you could see here the Prophet ﷺ making a mathematical equations in which he had said, the first one, that the Prophet of Allah, he says, if the person makes takbir at the end of his prayer, that is obligatory prayer, 10 times, and he makes tahmeed 10 times, and tasbih 10 times, and that is, he says, that is 150. Here the Prophet of Allah, he made a calculation of adding 30 and then multiplying that 30 into 5 prayers. That is what we do, 5 daily prayers. That's 150. And then he multiplying the 150, for each one gets 10 hasanat, that's a 1,500. The Prophet of Allah was not a mathematician. Prophet ﷺ, he spoke this from divine. And then after that he adds, and if the person, he goes to his bed, he makes tasbih, tahmeed and takbir, and it is 100, and we have explained that in Sunan Abi Dawood there's a narration that says, tasbih 33 times, tahmeed 33 times, and takbir 34 times. He says, that's 100 on the tongue, and 1000 in the scale. 1000 means, that is, each one would receive 10 times. That's the minimum. 10 times multiplied by 100, multiplied by the 100. So we have now addition of 33 plus 33 plus 34. Then after that we have a multiplying by the 10, that's 1000. Then he's adding the total of the first and the second after the prayers. And when you go to the bed, he's making it 2,500. Now I'm boasting that there is no book in maths that would have the best of mathematical equation than this, and no book had mentioned those mathematical equations. I'm talking about equations that would link the person to tasbih and takbir. All we study, these people in the maths, they study, for example, the car, if it traveled such and such speed and such time, what type of distance and how much kilometers it crossed. So the student will come out linked with speeding, how much you can speed to cut this is not linked to what? To tasbih and takbir and tahmeed. So those are, I would say, the best of mathematical equations that the Prophet ﷺ had given us, linking the students of knowledge to the tasbih and the takbir. So if those people who are keen to teach our children the maths, from the Muslims, people I'm saying in the Muslim countries, let them write equations which are linking the student to what? To tasbih. We have additions here, we have multiply, total additions, and all of them. We're not saying not to study maths, but the people are too much into maths that they forget about that the purpose of studying the math is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not the purpose of the math, it's just to be a mathematician. And the other issue that we said, he said, فَرَأَيْتُ, that is Abdullah ibn Amr al-As, he said, I saw the Prophet of Allah, he was calculating them with his hands. That's the issue I'm bringing here, with his hands. يَعُدُّهُنَّ بِيَدِهِ. And the tasbih is in the right hand, not in the left hand. He did not use misbah. I don't think we're going to talk about that last week. No. So you see, when we looked at this, subhanallah, يَعُدُّهُنَّ بِيَدِهِ. He's calculating 10 times, 10 times, 10 times. Look at that. Yes, we've answered a number of questions regarding is a subha, is a bid'ah or not. But this is here, the proof. For those who are boasting that they want to follow the Prophet of Allah, why you are following the Prophet of Allah yet you're not doing like the Prophet of Allah by counting that tasbih like the Prophet of Allah with his hand? And a person bringing a subha which is about 1,000 beads in it, and then starts, oh mashallah, that's. And then if it's too heavy for him, he puts it around his neck to carry it, It's going because it's too heavy for him. Why? Is that the ibadah of the Prophet of Allah? He used to count them these 10 times with his hand. And the counting is with the right hand. So with the tasbih with the right hand. And if you want to have how much, you could go with the left hand. So those tasbih actually is more for showing off. And those special as well, the one upgraded one, which is the analog one, which is tick, tick, tick. They make a noise. So they disturb the person who is what? Who is next to him. Number two, it's for showing off. So the tick, tick, and look, tick, tick, tick. I'm ticking. So the ticking. So that's not the tasbih, ya akhi. Tasbih is what you do with your hand, nobody can see it. Some people, they're making showing off a lot. That's not tasbih. Stretching out your arms, tasbih. That's the other people that can't see you. So I can't really see your tasbih. It's between you and your Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the tasbih. So that is a very important point that here, that is the Prophet of Allah, he used to count his tasbih regardless how much. 100 with his hand. So if you're boasting about following the Prophet of Allah, follow him as well in the tasbih. And at the time of the Prophet of Allah, there was beads, there was strings, there was even date stones. You could easily put the strings and the beads and make a subha. They didn't do that. Okay? So that subha which is hand on the neck is only for the Chinese Buddhist people. Not for the Muslim. This is not really a Muslim ibadah. Now going to the following chapter, please.
Chapter 579. When someone gets up from his bed and then goes back, he should dust it. 12:17. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when one of you goes to bed, he should dust his bed with the inside of his lower garment. He should say, in the name of Allah, and he does not know what might have been on it after he left. If he wants to lie down, he should lie down on his right side and say, Subhana Rabbi, bika wada'tu jambi, wa bika arfa'uhu, in amsakta nafsi faghfir laha, wa in arsaltaha fa'fadha bima tahfadhu bihi ibadaka salihin. Glory be to you, my Lord. I have laid down my side by you, and I raise it up by you. If you take my soul, then forgive it. If you release it, then guard over it as you guard over your righteous slaves.
So the chapter title by Imam al-Bukhari, when the person gets up from his bed. You see the Imam al-Bukhari is trying to emphasize the fact that the person is linked to Allah whenever he goes to bed and whenever he gets out of bed. So when he gets to bed, the best thing to say is what? Alhamdulillah. The best thing is Alhamdulillah. الذي أحيانا بعدما أماتنا وإليه النشور. So he's getting from the bed, and he says that there is something that you need to do as an etiquette, which we have discussed in Hadith 1210. It's exactly the Hadith 1210 with some addition to it. So he says that if a person goes to his bed, then let him take the inside of his garment. داخلة إزار. This is if his arm is long enough to go and dust what is in the bed. Now, that is more emphasized for those beds which are like the time of the Prophet ﷺ, more than our beds. I'm talking about, because now these days, because you see, what is the reason? The Prophet of Allah, he said, let him dust his bed with his arm and let him say Bismillah. He doesn't know what he had left on his bed. You remember what the shaitan does? He puts things in the bed. And he makes you angry with your wife. You think that your wife has done this. And it's actually the shaitan. There's a physical harm. So he says he doesn't know what's in his bed. Now at the time of the Prophet of Allah, when you go to the bed, normally it is the case, it is pitch dark. Well, these days, alhamdulillah, we've got, mashallah, with these lights and LED lights now, you can see the single tiny little things in the bed. So dusting the bed is not as required as it was before. That is, if you are in a situation where you're, mashallah, light and everything, but if there is no light, and there is, just like the time of the Prophet of Allah, dusting the bed becomes more of a requirement because you don't know what's on the bed. But these days now we know. And also the dusting with the garment, it doesn't mean the sunnah you have to do with your own garment. You could do it with a towel. You could do it with a piece of cloth. You could do it with a carpet. I'm talking about plain carpet, plain mat. No problem about that. So if your izar is not really long enough, because you don't need to have to go and get a towel, but if your izar is long enough, you could do it with your izar. Izar means, as I said, the bottom part. He says, and if he goes to his bed, then let him go on his right side. We spoke about that. That's a sunnah. You go right side, so you put your right hand, palm underneath your cheek. The right side. Because we said, when the Prophet of Allah, another hadith, he said he used to put his hand, you remember? On his right cheek. That means he used to go on right side as well. This is the beginning of your sleep. After the which, no problem. And then let him say, Subhanaka Rabbi, is an addition. Subhanaka Rabbi, glorify me to your Lord. My Lord, Bika, that is, Bika with you. And another narration, Bismika. Bismika wada'tu jambi. In the name of yours, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I put my side on the bed. قال, وبك أرفعه. And by you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I lift myself up. وإن أمسكت نفسي, O Lord, if you have made my soul not to go back, that means you're going to die. فاغفر لها. Speak, oh Lord, forgive for it. When أرسلتها, that means you made me to live. فاحفظها, then preserve it, just like the way that you preserve your righteous slaves. That means the righteous slaves, they'll always do good, right things. Those are the ones who are fulfilling their obligation towards Allah. Oh Lord, make me like them. This is the explanation of that hadith, which we have done as well in 1210 and also 1191. Because we said in that Bab al-Shaytan, he comes with the stick, 1191, the hadith as well there. We talked about this. So with no further delay, we'll go to the following hadith.
Chapter 580. What to say when you wake up in the night. 1218. Rabi'a bin Ka'b radiallahu anhu said, I used to spend the night at the door of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and I would give him his wudu water. He radiallahu anhu said, I heard him after a long period in the night saying, Sami Allahu liman hamida, Allah hears whoever praises him. And I heard him say after a long period of the night, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, praise be to Allah, Lord of the worlds.
Right, what is that? See that. Right, in this chapter, Imam Bukhari, he says what the person says if he woke up during the night. That means he did not wake up in order to go work. If something had bothered him, woke up, okay? So what he should say. So this is the chapter talking about that the person should be linked to Allah whenever he goes to bed, whenever he gets up from the bed, and whenever he wakes up temporarily, which is just, couldn't sleep. We call it in Arabic qalaq. He was not really comfortable, so he woke up. So what should he say? And this person should all the time be linked to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In another hadith, we find that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, يعقل الشيطان على قافية أحدكم ثلاث عقد. The shaitan comes and ties up 3 knots at the back of each person of you. These 3 knots are filthy knots. These are the knots to secure for the shaitan that you will not be able to wake up for the Fajr. to make sure that you will not remember Allah. So, if the person woke up and mentioned Allah, Alhamdulillah, anything to do with Allah Azza wa Jal, حلت عقدة, one knot will be loosened. And if he made wudu, then another knot will be loosened. And if he prayed, then all his knots will be what? Loosened. So he will get up, طيب النفس, mashallah, he feels happy inside himself, within himself, because he's done his fajr and everything, he's done his prayer, طيب النفس. And he will be going to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with more obedience and with more ta'ah. وإلا, otherwise, قام خبيث النفس كسلان. He will be sluggish, lazy when he wakes up. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, because he did not wake up with the remembrance of Allah, he did not make the wudu, and he prayed and all of that. So there are three things that you do when you get up from bed. Number one, remember of Allah. Number two, wudu. Number three, prayer. Here we have a hadith from Rabi'a ibn Ka'b, one of the companions. He said, I used to sleep next to the door of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I used to bring him the water. Wudu'ahu, there's wudu'a with the fatha. Wudu with the fatha with the waw, and there's wudu. So wudu'ahu is the fatha on the waw, means the water required for the wudu. So I used to give him the wudu, that means the water for making wudu. So I used to hear him, that is, when he wakes up from the night, he would say, سمع الله لمن حمده فأسمعه الهوي من الليل يقول. That is, I would hear him to say, سمع الله لمن حمده. Also, I used to hear him from the night, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Who says these things is the one who is all the time linked to the du'as. Because the person who's not linked to the du'a, the first thing he would say is song that comes to his mind. Something that he's always, says it all the time. If he's cursing, he will be coming with a curse. So he wakes up with, A'udhu Billah, bad word, sleep with a bad word. That's what he did. But this person was linked to Allah, Sami Allah liman hamida, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. So all of it linked to Allah as members. And there's a hadith from Ubadah ibn Samit, radiyallahu anhu warḍah, where this hadith talks about very great supplication when the person wakes up during the night, not the wake up that you need to go and work, or you don't want to go back to bed, but this is إِذَا تَعَارَّ مِنَ اللَّيْلِ. تَعَارَّ مِنَ Sahih Bukhari Muslim means that this hadith means that the person had something that bothered him. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, if the person ta'ara min al-layl, if he said, La ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lah. So, La ilaha illallah. There is no God worthy of worship except for Allah alone. La sharika lah, having no partner. Lahul mulku, he has the dominion. Wa lahul hamd, and he is all the praises to him. Wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. And he is capable of doing all the things, everything. Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah. Subhanallah, glorified be to Allah. قال ولا إله إلا الله, and there is no God worthy of worship except for Allah. Wallahu Akbar, and Allah is the great. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله, and there is no power or might except in the hands of Allah. That is إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Then he said, after that he said, Allahumma ghfirli, O Lord, forgive for me. Or he said, he supplicated, then Allah will fulfill his supplication. And if he made wudu and he made a prayer, then his prayer will be accepted. I'll repeat this hadith again, because it's a great hadith, where the Prophet ﷺ, he said, if any person had agonization in the night, he woke up, then the following hadith applies. He would say, لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير الحمد لله وسبحان الله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Then he sought forgiveness. He said, Allahumma ghfir li, or he made a supplication, any supplication. And then he made wudu. So if he made any supplication, it will be fulfilled. And if he made wudu and he prayed, then his prayer will be accepted. And that is a great dua that you are bound to learn. So if you have something bothering you, say that, mashallah, you'll feel on top of the world. Right, going back to the hadith, chapter 581, hadith 1219. Now,
Chapter 581, the person who goes to sleep with grease on his hand.
Now,
1219, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever goes to sleep with grease on his hand without washing it off and is then afflicted by something should not blame anyone except himself.
It's called ghamar in Arabic, ghamar, which is a grease. Allah ibn Abbas, he said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the chapter is, man nama wa badihi ghamar. The person, if he sleeps and he's got in his hand ghamar. Ghamar is grease. That is mean from the meat. You eat meat, the smell of it comes out of your hand. That's what it means. So the whole book is called what? Adab al-Mufrad. Al-Adab means the etiquettes. And everything here linked to the adab. As a Muslim, you have to be muta'addib. From the adab that the person, he has to clean his hand from all these things that really has a smell. So some people, subhanAllah, they eat, they dip their hands in the food and then they shake the hands of other people. It's not right. Some of the people, they eat the food and they go to the bed without washing their hands. That's not right. Person who's always Muslim is really nice and clean, smelling mashallah. It's not just simply to go and have food and dip your hand in the meat and the grease and then suddenly you put perfume on it. Perfume doesn't work. You have to wash your hands first. And this reminds me now with the sinners and the ones who are worshippers. What does tasbih does to them and what is istighfar? It was asked, what is better, to make istighfar or make tasbih? He said, if the person is a sinner, it's better for him to make istighfar because istighfar sabun al-usah, the soap of those who are sinners. And if you are a person of pious, not a sinner, then tasbih is better for you to say subhanallah because tayyibu. And that is the perfume which is for those people who are pious. So that was sabun al-usah, and this one, the tayyib for those people who are pious. So if the person, he is a sinner, it's not good to put tasbih. It's better for you to make istighfar because you're a sinner. So we say to the person, if you are hand dirty with some food, it's not good just to put perfume. You need to have what? Wash. And here the hadith talks about that if a person slept and yet he had in his hand grease, before he washed it, then something had happened to him. What is something that happened to him? Something had happened to him, like for example, a snake or a scorpion or whatever came to him because of the smell of the what? Of the food. Rats, they like the smell of the food. And then they start biting your hand. Then blame nobody except for what? Yourself, because you did not clean it. So all of those that really stings and poisonous animals, they love this, as soon as they smell the food, they will come to it. So it will harm you. Now the harm for you is not allowed. So what about the harm for others? Is more emphasized. So if you yourself, it's not allowed. To harm others, it's not allowed as well. So when you put on your hand, regardless whether the smell is grease or other than that, when you shake the hand of somebody, when your hand is full of something which is greasy, like, let's start with food. We in our country, in Arabs, we have the mansaf, which is meat. In the Pakistani, the curry. Okay, somebody is eating curry, not using it for example, but he's dipped his hand and everything. Then he shakes the hand of somebody, and you end up with curry in your hand. And then you shake somebody else's hand, the other person will have curry in his hand. Same thing. So that's not right. The person Muslim should be cleaning himself. So the cleaning of the self is, this is the etiquette. And I'm saying this is emphasizing because I do know that so many brothers are failing to do this. They're failing on this. They just, as soon as he comes to the masjid, he smells from the top to the toe. Garlic, onion, kitchen, bringing it all over to the masjid. So you're praying to somebody, you might eat him because it smells food. You can't eat it, you got put a mask on your face or a peg on your nose and try to pray as much as you can. Concentrate. Because you can't concentrate with these people. Brother, please. Now, once I prayed And I prayed in the middle. And I prayed behind the Imam. SubhanAllah. I'm smelling something. I don't know what it is. So while I'm praying, it's just distracting me. So I'm rotating my nose this side. Is it this person? No. So, is it this person? I can't find it. Every time I go to ruku, I find it. Then I find it's the Imam himself. Because when I make ruku, my head is close to his clothes. So what is that? So being a person who's leading the prayer, you need to make sure your clothes are smelling nice. Very important. Prophet of Allah would never come out except with MashaAllah. Let's pray. Going to the Hajj and Umrah, to put the perfume like on top of his head. Aisha, tutayyibu. Nice, smelling nice. That's the Muslim and the believer. Same now, the hadith gotta go, the same thing, hadith 1220, same thing. So we're going to 1221.
Chapter 582, Putting Out Lamps. 1221, Jabir bin Abdullah radiallahu anhu said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, lock the doors, tie the water skins, turn over the vessels, cover the vessels, and put out the lamps. Satan does not open a locked door, nor untie a water skin, nor uncover a vessel. A mouse can cause a house to burn down with its inhabitants in it.
Right, this is to do with al-misbah. This chapter says to extinguish, I mean put off, or put out, sorry, the misbah. Al-misbah is called, what is it? Lamp. The lamp, maybe it is not really lamp because electrical lamps here these days, so we're talking about the lanterns. Okay, that's the one. So the lanterns, the one which is got fire in it, because if you don't put it out, it might cause trouble. It might cause fire. So it's a fire hazard. Because we're going to go to the following chapter, it talks about putting the fire totally, because the fire is your enemy. I'm not saying an enemy that means if somebody put a fire there and I can't go to his house, means it might cause you death. So it's al-misbah is to make sure that if that lantern is there before I sleep, I'll switch it off. Because the shaitan has got the capability of physical harm. If he can't himself do it because he's been locked outside, because he said Bismillah, then he's capable of sending a rat or a mice or any animal to topple that sort of lantern, and then God knows what happens. The fuel is going to go onto the floor and then the fire will catch him. For those who they know about the lantern, they know what I'm talking about. It happened. Lots of people die because of this. In this hadith, we have a number of etiquettes we learn from this. Jabir bin Abdullah narrates this hadith from the Prophet ﷺ. He said, أَغْلِقُ الْأَبْوَابِ. Lock the doors. Now locking the doors is as well from the hadith that we know with saying what? Bismillah. Locking the door without saying Bismillah, it doesn't do anything. You could lock it with as many chains as possible. Okay, lock it up with so many keys, it doesn't work. Shaitan can unlock that. So the shaitan would unlock doors got no Bismillah. But if you say Bismillah and lock it, shaitan can't. Unlocking it here means not with a key. Locking it means closing it. It doesn't mean that you lock it with a key. It means you close the door. So you don't have a gap between the wall and the door. It means closed. So that shaitan has no power to unlock it, to push it. Even though he's got more power to do anything else, but he's got no power because the name of Allah is there. And also he has physical harm regarding the drinks. So as-siqa, he says وَأَوْكُ السِّقَى. Siqa is the water. Okay, the water which was at the time used to be put on water skins. The water skins, they have a mouthpiece. He said, tie up a string on it. Does it work with this thing? Yes, like the bottle here. So we have a cap for it. So we lock that cap on it. Okay? So أوق السقاء. Same thing. Make sure that it is locked. Even if you did not really lock it, if you put it like this, that's enough to cover it. And then he says, وَأَكْثُ الْإِنَاءِ. The vessels, the cups you drink with, the pots you eat from, all of those. If it's empty, put it upside down. But if it's not empty, it's got something, then cover it up. خَمِّرُ الْإِنَاءَ. So if it's empty, it's better to put it out. So everything, all the glasses, you put them upside down. If it's got something, then I could just put that pen on it like this. This is if I left it. But if I don't leave it, I drink it like all the time, it's not practical. Prophet used to do like this and drink. And then covers. No, they become like Chinese. You know the Chinese, they've got this cup special, then drink. But this is if you left it. If you left it, then cover it. Now, so does it mean that every time that I'm going to put something in the fridge I have to cover it? No, you don't have to. The fridge in itself, cover for everything. So the fridge, if you put this in the fridge, the door of the fridge is enough for that cover. Okay? So everything in the fridge has been covered already. And he says, وَأَطْفِئُ الْمُصْبَاحِ, which is the whole title of the chapter is for it. Extinguish or put out the lantern. Now you have electrical bulb, there's no problem about that, because the list there's hazards from this. So leaving the lights in the masjid like this, there's no hazards from that. Because there's hazards that the law here in this country will tell you not to do it. Cool? So leaving that light, but if that light you think, if you left it, it might cause enough heat that it might burn, then the same applies. Okay? If that light is going to stay for a long time, it might create heat, and that heat might create fire, then it's the same thing applies. So it's all of it to do, how secured is your, items. He says the shaitan does not unlock something which is closed. That means the door. It does not unlock it. Even he brings a whole shayateen to push that door, which is easy just to open it, he can't open it. And also he will not undo or remove something that you tie on the stream of the water. So he can't really take that out. And also he will not be able to uncover a vessel. And then he says, for verily al-fuwaysiqah. Fuwaysiqah, he said, what is that? Mice?
Yeah.
The mice that the people take as a pet now these days. Allahu musta'an. It's unbelievable how the nature of mankind is being sort of terminated. I wouldn't say even changed, terminated. A mouse that the person, as soon as he sees his tail, the tail in itself puts you up. But now this, nice, subhanallah. Man, what had happened to the nature of these people? Cute. A'udhu billah. Do you know why? Okay. Have you seen what the cartoon films have done to the children's mind? Cartoons. For us we see Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry becomes not familiar for us, isn't it? I saw it so many times. For us, it's to keep them. But Jerry is what? The mouse. He became so... And then we got films about mice and mouses and rats. And became so... I would... SubhanAllah, I can't really understand. When the child is cute, what happened to his nature that Allah built? As soon as he left, as soon as he sees that tail of that thing, he goes... something with it. But now it's cute. And brings him food as well. Get him fat. And Prophet said, Fuwaysiqah. Fuwaysiqah is the diminutive, when I diminutive from the word of work, from the word fasiq. Fasiq means no good, corrupted. 5 animals, the Prophet ﷺ, he said they are fawasiq. 5 animals which they are fawasiq. One of them is the mouse, the rat. So, other one? The crow. The other one? Huh? Scorpion. Other one? Snake. Right. Those are the fawasiq. 5. Hudayya. That's a bit, I don't know it. I don't know that bad. Allahu A'lam. So those are the 5. Those 5 animals, like a vulture, something like that. Those 5 animals. As for the dog, black dog, that's different. It's not from the fawasiq that you kill it, but it's not from the fawasiq. Those are scavengers and eat, a'udhu billah. Fasiq, they're not really good, have got no good characters in them. Okay? Black dog is a shaitan. Okay? In Islam, black dogs are not allowed to be any of benefits Termination is an Islamic country. Black dog, completely black. Black cats, don't know why they have really made dhulm, injustice on the black cats. Because you know the black cats is for them is bad omens. You know that? You don't know that. Black cats, they believe it is bad omens because they turn into witches. Yeah, turn into witches. This is what I've read about their background of the black cat. They turn into, for example, they say the witch that had 7 skulls and number 7. She brooded something in their skulls and they turned into all of that. I don't know where they get these things. Harry Potter stories, Right, Allah musta'an. Right, إن الفويسقة تضرم على الناس بيتهم. It does burn the people's houses. How does it do it? We're going to see that inshallah in a minute. How does the fuwaisiqa burn the house down? Right, I know that they do that. Remind me of the story inshallah after we finish 122. Now.
1222, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, a mouse came and began to drag the wick. The slave girl began to stop it. The Prophet ﷺ said, leave it. The mouse brought the wick and put it on the mat where he was sitting. It burnt a hole in it in the size of a dirham. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, when you go to sleep, put out your lamps. Satan guides things like this and then they burn you.
Again, as an etiquette, we learned like before how that the Prophet ﷺ had taught us some etiquettes to protect ourselves from something that you can't see, which is the harm of the shaitan. And this shaitan, he could send animals, to harm you, like this fa'ra. He could use that animal to, harm you. So the person all the time, he mentioned in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You remember the person when he approaches his wife, what does he say? Bismillah, Allahumma najinna shaitan, wa jannib shaitana, ma razaqtana. And this is from the rights of the child on his parents before he is born. From the rights of the child on his parents before he's born. Now this is a fa'ra. Again, what it does, it is a rat or a mouse. Came and brought, it was dragging what? A wick. That means like, the lanterns, they've got a wick with a light, the fire comes on. She took one of them. They've got more than wicks there in there. She took one of them. So the jariyah, the girl or the slave, she went after it in order to tell her off. So the Prophet said, leave it. You know why? Because you tell her off, you're going to go more and worse. So we here in this hadith, we learn that killing the rat or the mice is to kill it when it is what? Harming you. But I'm not commanded to go into the sewage, and to kill as long as they're already harming. I'm not commanded to go to the desert and make, army sort of and send it to go and exterminate. So when the Prophet said, kill the scorpions that's going to harm you. But I'm not going to go on now make a United Nations for killing the scorpions now, extermination of scorpions. Alright? Because all these animals, Allah created for a what? For a wisdom. SubhanAllah. If you find even the termites, they have been created for wisdom. And now we found that those maggots, the maggots? That's so good for those people, in the medicine. That's so good of taking the gangrene. They put it on that. A person got gangrene, just Google it up. Put gangrene treatment through maggots. They put the maggots on that gangrene, they wrap it, and the gangrene is that all they do is take the unbeneficial things and leave the beneficial things. Subhanallah. They'll take the cancer thing, the gangrene thing, they'll leave the good ones. And that's amazing. As soon as you see it, you're going to be put off, you want to kill it. So, everything that the mice, the snake, the snake, it kills mice, doesn't it? Alright. So you kill all the snakes, mice will increase. So we are directed to kill those who attack us while we are in our house, in our presence, in our courtyard. So leave her, Messenger of Allah. He didn't say go and follow her and kill her. She's got to. So that mice, she threw it on the khumra. Khumra is the sajjada, like the carpet. In khammar al-ard, you cover the earth. Sajjada. And the one that the Prophet ﷺ, he was sitting on it. So some of that burnt, just like the size of a dirham. A dirham is like this. Like a 50 pence. Okay? Size of a dirham. It burnt it. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, if you sleep, put off your suratakum, means the lanterns, so extinguish them, not the electrical. He said, فَإِنَّ الشَّيْطَانِ, very shaitan, he will direct such animals like this in order to harm you, so it can burn you. Now, this is a story, just remember, which is really happening. I have a friend who is a mechanic. He's got a garage. So I go to him sometimes, a lot of times. I'm fixing cars and at the same time chatting with him. And I could see him bringing like a feast food, and he's going at the back. So I thought, well, what are you doing? He said, I'm feeding my guests. Said, what do you mean feeding your guests? I didn't really understand it. He said, I'm feeding the rats. Why are you feeding the rats? He said, if you don't feed the rats, they're going to cut my electrical wires. I said, you sure? He said, then he showed me. Metal wires. Metal. They were able to go and cut it. So if they are hungry, they'll cut it. But if they're full, they don't approach it. And he couldn't really kill him. So he said, the last time when he went for Umrah and he closed it for 5 or 6 days. Okay, some people left things by accident, well, everything by not accident, by the taqreer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the bin. And when they came, they showed me as well the footprints of the rats. When they came, he said they had a party, a feast. Everything from the bin they took it, but he's glad he didn't touch his electrical and phone cables. You know, the phone cables are very good. For me, I was living in a house. One day, there is a leakage into my shower room. Leak. So I bring the plumber, and he showed me. And it was actually from the top, on top of the loft. They went there, and they cut the pipe that leads to the shower. That's why the water is gushing everywhere. Allahu Musta'an. So you have to change them into kappa, because they were before like a plastic, into kappa. Even the kappa, they really start. So they are animals which are harmful animals. Okay? And the government, if they find there is rats, they will kill them. And if it's mice, they say it's you have to kill them from your own pocket. You know that? Yes. So they will, if it's rats, you get free from the council. But if it's mice, you have to buy it yourself. How do they know? They are experts. When he came to that house we used to live in, he come from there, subhanAllah. That's probably the extrusion of them. You will know. Mice or rats. First time he said, sorry, it's mice, you have to pay. You get it yourself, and he described him what you get. Then we call him again, he said, oh, it's rats, it's free. Then he brings you that green stuff to put it there. Allah musta'an. So these animals are harmful, and we go to the following hadith.
12:23, Abu Sa'id radiallahu anhu said, the Prophet ﷺ woke up one night and a mouse had taken the wick and climbed with it to the roof to burn the house down on them. The Prophet ﷺ cursed it, and he made it lawful for a person in the state of ihram to kill it.
Right, 1, 2, 2, 3 is unauthentic, so we go 1, 2, 2, 4. Now.
Chapter 583, a fire is not left burning in a house when people sleep. 12:24, Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu said, the Prophet ﷺ said, do not leave the fire burning in your house when you go to sleep.
So, the fire, do not leave it, because there's another hadith which is 1226. If you look at it, it adds because it is your enemy. النار فإنها عدو. is an enemy for you. Don't leave the fire. Now the fire, regardless, even those, I don't know if you saw them, stoves which are dafaya, we call it in Arabic, dafaya, or midfaya. Stoves have got fire. Have you seen them? It's like a gas stove, and works with canisters, like a gas bottle from them, and then you click it and there's like a little fire comes out. Have you seen it? What do you call it? Stove? Huh? Burners. Yeah, not for putting it's just like the biggest, it's my hand like this. Yeah, but the big one comes behind. We have them in our country. Now it's illegal in this country to have them in an office because they cause what? Fire. They use the one which the flame cannot be seen. You've seen them? There's like one for gas. There's a flame which is inside. They can't see it, so it's like. Also, you allow them. Other ones they don't allow them. I have asked about these things, so we said what is allowed and not allowed. So those things, well, the same thing. You're not allowed to sleep while that gas there is open because it might cause you as well harm. So all of this is to do with harm. So if the masjid lights, if they're left on, they cause so much heat that they will burn the polystyrene around it and cause fire, it's not allowed to leave them on. Right, we're going to now the 1225, which is almost the same. Umar ibn Khattab, he says
1225, Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma said, Umar radiallahu anhu said, fire is an enemy, so beware of it. Ibn Umar used to go round the fires of his family and put them out before he went to sleep at night.
And I remember whenever we used to go with our parents a long time ago, and they used to, for example, make a barbecue, and they put a fire, and they put the charcoals. They will not leave that charcoals until they what? Totally extinguish it. They bring water, on top of it. Okay, that is the best thing, because you don't know, any spark from that can set things on fire. So we were even in the open space, okay, because some of those charcoals can stay for a long time on. So what they used to do, they bring the water. If they can't bring the water, then they will make sure they dig a hole and put it. You know that fire, if you put it in the hole, it stays for a long time, you know that? It does not really put off by itself. It takes a long time inside. That's how they barbecue as well, the meat inside the ground. There's a special way of, we call it in Arabic, the zar is inside the meat. We put it in the ground and they lock it and it will cook sort of slowly. Yeah, and it's the best, mashallah, because cooks takes about half a day. Slowly, mashallah, everything's cooked properly. We stop here, inshallah, and we will 1227. The same thing. It's the same thing. 1227 is the same thing. So we just read it.
1227, Abu Musa radiallahu anhu said, a house in Medina burnt down with its inhabitants during the night. The Prophet ﷺ was informed of it and said, fire is your enemy. When you go to sleep, put out the fire.
We benefit from this extra benefit, which is that to benefit from your mistakes. To benefit from your mistakes. It's a mistake has been done, and the Medina, there was a house which is burnt, and that house was burnt, and it looks like that the reason for that is a fire. So the Prophet of Allah, he said, this fire is an enemy, but it doesn't mean an enemy that you have to fight the fire. It means an enemy because you cook your food on the fire. But it's an enemy when you don't really look after it. So if you are aware the fire is next to it, to you, no problem. But don't sleep and be oblivious and not really paying attention to it. We stop here, as I said, inshallah. We have any question with the uncle, we start, inshallah. Fadal.
After each salah, you can say zikr.
Now,
Can you do more than that?
I'm talking about this hadith, uncle. Well, there is other hadith which says that you say Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar 25 times. And that's multiplied by that, and he said 100. So this is, I'm talking about a particular dhikr. But we can't really mix up dhikrs like this. So this Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, 10. You could make them another hadith, 33, 33, 33. And then you say, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. That's another hadith. I'm talking about that particular hadith. Whereas we say that the person does from this adhkar what he is capable of. Some people, they maybe had no time. So that at least you would say, Astaghfirullah, 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 Allahumma tassalam, minka salam, tabarakta, ya dhal jalali, you come and go. Some people that they could have more. They could do it 10 times, 10 times, 10 times. There's another hadith 25 times, 25 times. There's another hadith 33 times, 33 times, 33 times. So depending upon how much you could really make. Alhamdulillah, fil amri sa'a. We have, mashallah, more spacious in this. But you cannot make 26 times. You cannot make 14 times. You cannot make 11 times. Because where's the proof for that? So those are, like you could say, a person who's got heart disease, he went to the doctor. He said to him, 3 tablets in the morning, 3 tablets in the afternoon, 3 tablets in the evening. If that person took 2, he might die. And if that person took 4, he might die. So the same thing here, if the doctor of the hearts, which is Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, had said to us, this is the time, 10 or 33 or 25, you stick to that number. If you don't stick to the number, you create another number, your heart will die. No. Exactly. Fadal.
Regarding using the inside of the izar and
Yeah, like this is our yours, mashallah. That's a good one.
using on the bed, is there any link to like humiliating the shaitan because the inside of the izar is
Is
the humiliation?
there the inside of the izar, is it to do with the humiliation of the shaitan? I haven't heard of this, but the inside of the izar, in case there is something that would dirty the clothes, that's why it's the inside of it. Because the outside of it, if you have something on the bed you didn't see it, like, food or something, it's no good, to look yourself with dirtiness on that. So the inside one, no problem with it. That's why the Prophet ﷺ used the inside of his clothes for even the spittle. Okay, inside of his clothes to his spittle, to the end of his garment. If there's nothing there to put in it, he will spit in it. Now, Fadal. In the Arabic, we have al-faqr. Al-faqr is the mouse. Okay? And the other one is a'udhu billah, is much worse, which is the rat. Yeah. But the faqr is the mouse. Faqr, mouse. The mouse. So if the mouse is like this, is that one is worse because it's the bigger size of it. What's the difference between a mouse and a rat? It's from the same species, but one is big, one is small. No difference. Both of them are sewage, inhabitants. That's where their favorite place.
In Somalia, we don't have differentiate, but in here they say the rat and mouse.
Now we do have a differentiation.
Yeah, so the one like the cat, upside down. Very big one. In Hyderabad, isn't there?
Where in Somalia?
Yeah, in Hyderabad.
Yeah, in our country, the rats are like cats. You know how fat your cat's here? Our rats are even fatter. So big like this, that when they walk, even the cats are scared of it. Even this cat doesn't even bother looking at it. I've seen the cat, and there was about 3-4 of those big ones, and the cat jumped. They're charging against the cat. And the cat jumped. They can't do anything. These are big ones. Cat can't touch. Sah. And our cats are so skinny, so bony. But I think they are more vicious and strong. If you go to Saudi Arabia, have you noticed the cats? They're hardly living. They're hardly living. They're really hardly living. I don't feel like pity for these cats. And they haven't been fed whatsoever. Okay? Hardly living. And here cats, they're like a small lamb, I'm not joking. Big, they are massive. You like eat more than a human being. Sure. No. Even inside the house, inside your bedroom, for example, it's better because you don't know if somebody had entered the house from the outside and didn't say Bismillah. Now. You buy cat food, yes, mice. You've got a cat yourself. Go on. Oh. Yes. What would you want to ask about?
So, the food, you know, someone with food.
You can't buy food which is haram food for the cats. You can't buy haram food what for anything. If you get it free, no problem. But for the cats, you could get either vegetarian food, which is the cat doesn't prefer, or fish. Get the fish is no problem. As for the meat, you have to make sure it's meat. Well, the Christian meat is allowed, but those meat is it, for example, dead meat they bring, because they don't really care about the cat what they eat. We don't care as well for the cat what does it eat, because they eat mice, which is worse. But I'm talking about, you can't buy it. You can't buy something which is haram. As the cat doesn't distinguish between halal and halal, I'm not going to eat it. A cat will eat anything. No. And I'm saying anything in our country that is here, subhanAllah, they don't eat anything. You have to give them something special. Now.
Regarding the meat escape, the tasty things to do, some of the scholars say you must say subhanAllah, alhamdulillah for that each time.
The scholars differ about this issue. And saying subhanAllah, alhamdulillah, Allah Akbar, like that is less powerful than the ones who say man sabbaha 33. Say subhanAllah, subhanAllah 33. So he didn't say man say subhanallah, alhamdulillah 33. He said subhanallah 33, alhamdulillah 33, Allah Akbar 33. So the ones who are saying this, they've got more of a zahir al-lafz, which we call it the appearance of the wordings of it, is to say it like that. And that's why Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah says the hadith of that companion who had seen it, Sulaim, in his bed, which is the subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, Allah Akbar, just to take you away from tasbih 33 times like that. Because when you say subhanallah, 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 you tend to go fast and you tend to not to complete the word subhan. So it's better to say subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, wallahu a'lam. Now,
regarding locking the doors, is that a specific time or?
the person when he locks the door at any time he says Bismillah. Because the shaitan comes in, the shaitan at any time. And the Prophet ﷺ, when he said, when you come to your house, you say Bismillah, the shaitan would say, that's it, guys, we have no way to enter the house. But in another way he says as well, La mabita lakum, he does not sleep. But it doesn't mean that La mabita lakum doesn't sleep, that means you only if you come during the night. Because you could come during the day and stay and then sleep, as long as he secured himself to sleep. Because the shaitan is not just asleep, it's as well to stay with you in the house. To stay with you in the house and cause you as much harm as he can. And if you said Bismillah on the food, then he said, no, that's it, we've finished now. No food and no sleeping. That means no bed and breakfast. Okay, so the person says Bismillah, not just during the night, at any time. But maybe you mixed up with closing the doors, and this is for the children to come out here in the night. Don't mix up this with that. Now.
Last week you mentioned that you should sleep, start with on the right, but after that you can sleep in any position other than on the stomach. Why can't you sleep on the stomach?
Why can't I sleep on the stomach? Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, this is the way that the people will be on the hellfire. And I'll tell you what, now I'm saying this, and with the confidence that you understand that anything that Allah told us or the Prophet told us will be beneficial to the believer, even if you don't really know what is the wisdom behind it. Yes or no? Okay, so you follow. So I believe that you understand that and you fully believe that. But the Prophet of Allah, he said, the reason, because the people of the hellfire, they sleep like this, they will be put like this on the hellfire, they will be dragged and they will be put on their faces in the hellfire. Now, it's being proved scientifically, to be medically wise, that sleeping on the face is not right. Most of the sudden death of the babies, they found out it is to do with the babies being slept on their faces. So they made in England, talking about this, in England, they made this research that why they have the sudden death of the babies. They've asked a number of people who have done that. They said most of the babies, when they asked them this question, they were sleeping on their faces. So when we have American and an English report, we tend to believe it more than the Prophet Muhammad's narration. We don't ask why. I'm not saying my brother, but we just don't ask. No, we should be asking why about the reports rather than to ask from the. Because Allah and His Messenger said this, I don't question. No, but the brother is asking, basically, is there any apparent hikmah that the scholars talked about where we believe that anything that Allah said to us and anything that Prophet said to us, there is a hikmah. There is a hikmah whether we know it or not. Now, we know the beauty of that. When you sit to defecate, you sit al-qurfusa, which is the qurfusa. Yalla, do it for us. Do it for us. The qurfusa. For doing it in the toilet. Come on. Yeah, sit in the qurfusa, the toilet. You sit in the toilet. That's the one. We have known now that how the Prophet said he had taught you everything and how to do it. Not sitting on a comfortable chair. You sit in a comfortable chair and then you end up with uncomfortable pain. Where you push it towards your muscles. And then now, with the videos and everything, we could see it. Alhamdulillah, we believe more, but this is as well to boast our iman. MashaAllah, Wallahi, when I've seen it, I was so happy. That this is, and I have tried it myself. Wallahi, when I had so much pain, I couldn't do it in the normal, when the doctor advised me to do that, and subhanAllah, I'm going to go back to they call it the Arabic toilets. It's not Arabic toilets. So this is the Western toilet, the Arabic toilets. Now, the English toilets or the Western toilets, they are putting this little stool to raise up their feet up in order to make the smooth pushing of your intestine to go along with the angle of your backside or where the thing comes out. It will line up and it will pushing, will be relaxed. And those thighs of yours will be pushing into your stomach naturally. And it will come naturally rather than to be unnaturally, and they will cause, a'udhu billah, might cause cancer as well. So, I mean, if you are building a house, build your toilets the way that it's supposed to. If you build a house, okay? If you could afford it, remove that toilet, or if you haven't got, at least you put a stool to it. But it's the reason that the fit is not like sitting, because the other one is like pressurizing. This one would help. No. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك الله خيرا بارك الله فيكم.